Some of my recent videos have focused on cameos mostly, and with Mortal Kombat 1, the meta and the way that players are approaching the game seems to be evolving all the time. Now for today's video, I actually want to switch it up a little bit and focus on a base roster character, and for today, it's going to be Li Mei. This is not a tutorial, this is a video that focuses on some specific combinations that are really being highlighted as of the last few days, and after using it myself, I can definitely understand where the potential lies. I think that a character like Li Mei is naturally not going to have the largest player base because some characters like Li Mei that might have shorter range than most, a bit more of a neutral focus, but some glaring weaknesses, I think she's the kind of character people will forget about. However, if you put the time in, there could be some real sauce here, and I think especially with the right cameo, we're seeing some rather impressive stuff from Li Mei already, enough so, after playing it myself, that I really wanted to make a video about it, because if anything else, it's a lot of fun. So what is Li Mei at a competitive level? Li Mei is a pretty strong neutral character. She has access to some slightly decent projectiles, and her movement isn't the worst thing in the world, as is her mobility, thanks to things like flip kick. This is all stuff that you're probably going to know already. If you played the beta, if you've been watching a little bit of Li Mei action, you kind of know what to expect with this character. However, her weaknesses do tend to belong to not so good of a mid and shorter range than most, on top of the fact that she has some pretty unsafe gaps in some of her useful strings. Now, when making Li Mei thrive, it feels that at this exact moment, players are not so much looking for a cameo to fill those weaknesses, they're looking for a cameo that can take what she already does well and make it even better. And that is where the cameos in today's video come into play. Starting off with Cyrax, Cyrax gives you what Cyrax naturally gives you in regards to safety on block, being able to do things on block into the helicopter special. This can fill a gap in a string, or it can be used after specials or strings to continue pressure and to continue meter build. Block situations. It's kind of the stuff that you know Cyrax for already. What he is going to give Li Mei, especially in the corner, is absolutely gigantic combos. Now, sadly, this does all seem to stem from just the helicopter. I think that is a shame of Cyrax at the moment, is that we're not really seeing the entire moveset. It is just this spin attack, really, for a lot of characters, and Li Mei is kind of no exception. Being able to use this helicopter in the corner grants access to huge combo damage after the right special move into an air string into a dive kick, but from this point on, that kind of is just Cyrax on his own. One thing you can do is throw out those almost random nets from full screen, and the stun is long enough that you can go into a almost beta Frost-like setup, where you go into the lantern, into a launch, into a combo that Li Mei fans have seen many times over, but Cyrax is a bit one-dimensional, in my opinion. Another cameo here is Goro. Now, Goro is going to give you some punishes that are a bit easier to perform, mostly with her EX flip kick, which is fast enough to punish down ones, if you'd believe it. However, that is, again, where the reward kind of seems to lie. Now, there might be some players that disagree with me here, but from what Goro provides as a base, I just don't think it works completely well with Li Mei, although I'm prepared to be wrong. I just think that if you're looking for Goro for that Raise the Roof special to use reactively after certain launches, I think that Goro's going to give that utility more useful to other characters. He does have moves that punish crouching opponents, especially those that are crouch blocking, so if they try and block the back 3-4, they might eat this trying to do that. But again, you have to weigh up whether that's realistically going to hit people all the time. However, currently, the cameo pairing that Li Mei players are really talking about on social media is the Scorpion cameo, and I'm going to say, I can definitely see what all the fuss is about. I said earlier that some cameo pairings at the moment aren't necessarily being used to fill holes in the gameplay. They're being used simply to make what is already good better. And that's exactly what Scorpion Cameo currently does for Li Mei. The main cameo you're going to be using with this pairing is the Upflame special. This is the ambush of Scorpion. This is what extends combos. But in the case of Li Mei, it extends pretty much everything you could ever need. And that is why it's so useful. If you want to combo off EX Air Flip Kick, This is a safe special, or at least it's -6, and in this situation, if it hits someone and you call in the far Scorpion Upflame, this can now become a full combo. If you're going to confirm off of Li Mei's otherwise rather forgettable mid in back 3-4, you can actually turn this into a full combo, because anything on the ground into either her down back 3 flip kick or back forward 4 charging kick, this will turn into a combo from Upflame. And these two things leading to that extension into Upfire gives you combos from any situation. Because if you're comboing with Li Mei that isn't in the air, these specials are how you're going to do it. And Scorpion lets you extend into absolutely fantastic damage. The timing of which you go into Scorpion's Upfire will change depending on what the situation is, what string you're trying to convert from. This is something that experience will simply help you with. But the important thing is that now you can play base Li Mei, but get way more reward for everything you would do otherwise, whether it's going to be an instant air flip kick, whether it's going to be a grounded confirm, situations where you would normally get just a special on its own and that's it. Now Scorpion lets you extend it into so much more. It is the reward that has been increased. Everything else seems to remain the same, but that increased reward makes Li Mei feel just a lot more satisfying to play. Now, there is one thing that I haven't mentioned, and this is one of the biggest, in theory, bonuses that this pairing will give. Li Mei's EX flip kick is fast. Fast enough that it can punish things otherwise unpunishable by basically anybody else in the roster. And this is something that has always existed. In the beta, Li Mei had this flip kick. But I think that in the beta, there were no cameos that could really give you the same level of satisfaction that now the new cameos do. And this is why only now players are actually talking about it. If Li Mei punishes a down 1 on block, or punishes a special move that no other character can punish, if you're fast, and I mean fast, it's a quick input, EX flip kick into the far Scorpion up breath will full combo and give you massive damage for something only she is able to do. Now, if you want to try and do it from a combo perspective, you can preemptively call in the Scorpion Upflame, but that requires you to dedicate to a read rather than doing something reactively. It is doing EX flip kick into the Upflame that may feel almost impossible if you're struggling to get it. It's just that you have to be so fast, there is no room for error. But I think this is something that really the specialists will thrive with. Outside of the Upflames, the Scorpion cameo does give you other uses for Li Mei. The more obvious is the retreating spear. If you're being rushed down by somebody, this can often be a really good cameo assist to call in and get out of a bad situation, but also the overhead slash that Scorpion brings you. It's slow and it is reactable, I think, at the highest level. However, it hits overhead, and Li Mei has a couple of strings, most notably back 3-4, that has a low in it. And if someone's going to be blocking low too much, this can blow them up. The opponent is in a staggered state, so you can't get your traditional combos from this, but Li Mei's EX Fireball just so happens to work perfectly well, with getting more damage regardless. And I think this is an extra element as to why Scorpion and Li Mei currently work so well. Now, I have to say in this video, it's been more of a discussion surrounding this one pairing, because Li Mei as a character is not particularly popular. I know there are Li Mei players out there, I've played against a bunch of them online, and I've seen a bunch of them on streams and tournaments, but I do feel like she is the kind of character that people weren't really going to be looking at too much, and because of her more obvious weaknesses, she's not a character that's going to be in everyone's mind for, we're talking strong characters, right? Who's the best? Who's everyone going to start picking? Li Mei's not going to be in that discussion, but I do not think she is to be underestimated either. That is a huge problem that some characters will have early on, is that people just will not give them the time of day, and they may regret that later down the line when you fight someone in bracket who's really good with a really good pairing and you have no idea what's going on. I always urge players to experiment and explore and find what works for them, but also to pay close attention to what other people are doing. I think there's an element to using stuff too much because everyone's playing it. I think early Serena was one of those things. There's loads of Cyrax cameo right now. With a game like this, people using what's most popular is almost inevitable at this point, but there's plenty more left to find out for yourself. And that's what really excites me about the game right now. I know that Mortal Kombat 1 in general has some quality of life features that I really hope get addressed in future patches. The game is absolutely not perfect, but from a gameplay perspective, things are incredibly fun. And as I've said in previous videos, this early phase where everyone's figuring stuff out is always my favorite time to jump in and play, because it's a great moment of experimentation, finding cool stuff, things nobody would have thought of, and putting it into practice in a competitive setting. It's just a satisfying experience. Now, this video is not to say that Scorpion and Li Mei is the only pairing you will ever need, but I really think that it's so fun and powerful together that it was worth highlighting in case you hadn't seen it or played it yourself. If you are a Li Mei player and you hadn't seen this Scorpion stuff, I really hope this has opened your eyes somewhat. And if there are Li Mei players out there that are playing other cameos that you're getting just as much success with, by all means, please let me know. It's the best time to find out. I definitely plan to continue making more videos like this, highlighting combinations, new discoveries, and character tech. It's the best time to release this kind of stuff, in my opinion, and also, it's just a great way to see how the progression is faring. We've had multiple tournaments at this point, the game has only just come out, and we're already seeing all kinds of different characters place at the absolute top. Some characters you might not have expected. That's a story for another time, but for now, I thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what characters you would like me to cover next, and if there's more untapped potential, this is the place to go to see it develop. My name is Ketchup. I appreciate you all for watching. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.